Hello, everybody. It is me once again, Demetra Can. I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat, Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. This is our second go around. Before y'all was probably watching our podcast. If you haven't checked it out, it's uploaded today, so please go check that out. It was a very interesting topic. Today we are going to be talking about a Latasha Harlins, and I have to, kind of really be esoteric with that, if you will, but I'll get into it a little bit, or a lot actually. Latasha Harlins, that has happened again in South Carolina to a 14-year-old Black boy. So we're going to have a brief conversation about that. Of course, we are going to put the link up in just a few to give people an opportunity to briefly speak on this topic if you have something to add to it. I do emphasize briefly because I know sometimes, people have a lot to say and they want to come up and give us a history lesson and all that. But for the sake of time, I'll ask that you not do that. Just, state what it is that is on your mind, and then we can kind of have a conversation around that if need be. Also, before I bring you up to the large screen, please, and I don't know who you are, please show me your face before I do that so I can make sure ain't no funny business going on. But I should also say that the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better. I'd like to say a big giant thank you to Donovan for sitting here. I know he has a million other things to do, all the women that's chasing him around and everything. He had to keep them off just to do these shows today. So I love and appreciate him for that. Also, hello to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You are the other side of the conversation, Donovan. Oh, and I should also say we're gonna try to be here about an hour because your girl is tired. I've been burning the midnight, the afternoon, and not the evening oil all day long. So, Donovan.
Hey, welcome to the show. We thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in on Sundays, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 5 p.m. Central Time, if you guys know the math. Do us a favor. If you guys see that at the bottom there's a scrolling banner. If you so would like to help support the channel, please go ahead and donate. We take all sorts of apps, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all other good stuff like that. If you guys want to go ahead and write us a nice big check, Demetra will provide a nice email for you to get to her information and write that check out and do all that other great stuff. Also, do us a favor. If you're with us today, please share this on your platform, because sometimes an aunt might see it, a grandma might see it, and they might say, hey, you know what? They do make a little bit of sense. So, sometimes you guys think that what you post really doesn't matter, and some people really don't look at it. Some people actually do. And then sometimes it makes them think about where they stand in the world or what their opinion is on that topic. So unfortunately, this topic has, again, Latasha Harlins. For those guys that don't know who Latasha Harlins is, this was a young lady that was killed in about 1992, 93, around that time.
I'll go ahead and I'll give them a background on that.
Yeah, she'll do it. But, it really hits home for Demetra and I, because we were here in Southern California when that actually took place. So here we go again. And there's an old saying, he that does not know his history is doomed to repeat it. Go ahead, Demetra.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Donovan. So, Jose, how you doing? Black America. And Michelle, how are you? Entree and Easy, how are you this fine Tuesday evening? So let's get into it for the sake of time. All right. So, I was actually going to talk about some relationship stuff today, but then I happened upon this story and I thought I'd be remiss if we did not talk about it. And so I'm actually going to play you guys a video that better explains what happened. And of course, I'll get into a little bit more of that. Jan Michael, how you doing? And Aisha Stockton, how you doing? I hope I said your name right. So let's go ahead and I'll put this video up.
It doesn't make sense.
Richland County Sheriff Leon Lott describing the murder of 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton outside a Shell gas station on Park Lane Road Sunday night. The store's owner, Rick Chow, has been charged in the killing.
It's just sad. It's sad. If y'all ever seen that baby laying right there, that's all I can see. All I can see.
The owner suspected Cyrus of shoplifting inside the store, which RCSD has said did not happen.
Regardless, even if he had shoplifted 4 bottles of water, which is what he initially took out of the cooler and then he put them back, even if he'd done that, that's That's not something you shoot anybody over, much less a 14-year-old, but you just don't do that.
At one point, there was a verbal confrontation inside the store, but no indication that things turned physical. Cyrus was running away when he was shot. The coroner's office says he had one gunshot wound to the right lower back. Deputies recovered a gun believed to belong to the victim near his body. RCSD says there's no evidence he pointed it at or threatened Chow. One woman who saw the shooting happen and called 911 is calling for justice.
Do you even want to go in the store now? Because anything can happen now these days, and everybody's getting trigger happy. That young man didn't have to die like that, but for me to witness that yesterday, like, I'm in fear for my own brother. And for any of the kids that's in my neighborhood, because these kids, they come outside all the time. They come to the store all the time. Now it's like, now you got to watch your kids.
So, once again, that took place in Columbia, South Carolina, where, and I'm just going to kind of reiterate for those of you guys that's coming on, a 14-year-old Cyrus Belton was shot in his back as he ran from the Shell gas station, which is owned by Rick Chow. Okay, so he was running, ran into an apartment building, and Rick shot him in his back. Now, they said that he had a gun, which it sounds like maybe he did. But as you heard the police department there say, that's, no excuse to shoot a child who was running away. You shoot somebody in the back. Well, you know the story, right? However, this is not the first time that we are here. As Donovan was alluding to a minute ago, in 1991, a 15-year-old Black girl by the name of Latasha Harlins was shot in South Central Los Angeles in Empire Liquor convenience store, if you will, by Soon Ju Do. I think that's how you say her name. Soon Ja Do. I want to make it sure it's right. Because Soon, the owner of Empire Liquor, thought that Latasha was getting ready to steal a bottle of orange juice that cost about $1.70. So as she was walking out the store, they got into a confrontation, and Soon, the owner, in 1991, thought it was a good idea to shoot her, I believe, in the back of the head, if I'm not mistaken, killing her on the spot. Now, when the authorities arrived, they did find $2 in Latasha's hand, showing that she was going to pay for the orange juice. Okay. Now, Soon was brought up on charges, went through the whole trial and everything, but they gave her a slap on the wrist. Now, if you guys fast forward to 1992, where they said the LA riots took place because of Rodney King. Well, that was partially true, but it was really an indictment on the Korean community and the city of Los Angeles for allowing Soon Ja Do to get away with murdering that 15-year-old Latasha Harlins for being accused. Now, again, it was orange juice, right? It wasn't nothing major. It was orange juice, which, again, she was going to pay for. So I think she got like probation, something, nothing. She didn't even see that behind the jail at all. Needless to say, in 1992, when the riots took place, a lot of things got burnt down, including that liquor store, if you will. Now, I should say, from my knowledge, I have been told, and I have seen and actually been to this AM, PM, that's what they call them in California, in Lancaster, California. It is rumored that that is her store, and her son actually runs that store. So the point that I'm making is, she ran out of Los Angeles and went about, 70 miles up the road to Lancaster and reopened. And most of, if not all of her customers are Black. Now let's bring it back to South Carolina, where it looks like Mr. Rick Chow has been arrested for, let's call it what it is, the cold-blooded murder of a 14-year-old Black boy who he thought was stealing 4 bottles of orange juice, which the police officer, not orange juice, but water, which the police officer said he put back into the refrigerator. So my thing is this: how and why do they feel so emboldened to have a full-on, I say they, was him and his son, have a full-on chase of a 14-year-old to eventually murder him in cold blood over 4 goddamn water bottles? I'm mad about it. I'm gonna just keep it real with you. How do they think that's okay to do that, right? Like, in their mind, as they're running They're fully thinking we're going to murder this child and we're going to get away with doing it because we've gotten away with killing Black people wholesale before. It's been time and time and time and time again. But we saw in 2020 when the pandemic was all, at its full glory and everything, when actually Trump started the whole Kong flu and the China flu and all that in relation to the pandemic, then yes, there was a lot of vitriol toward the Asian community, but they made Black people the boogeyman of the Asian community. Hence, the Asian community got an anti-hate crime bill signed by the Biden administration, making it a hate crime to do, say, or even look at them in a very hateful way. Right now, I'm not saying they don't deserve protection, but guess who don't have protection? The children that have been shot in their heads and shot in their back for orange juice and bottles of water by that community that continues to get away with doing stuff to us. In New York City, Akai Gurley was shot by Peter Liang, a police officer, in a dark hallway because he was too afraid. He was new on the job, heard something in the dark hallway in a department in New York City, shot into that hallway and killed an innocent Black man. He, in fact, was convicted, but you know who said let him off? It was the Black VA at the time that says, well, he didn't mean to do it. Let's not do too much. So he didn't serve any time, even though he was convicted. You know why? Because his people got together and said he didn't mean to do it. Here's a lot of money to get him off, and he got off. Of course, we know there's many of examples of that. So even if you go on Twitter right now, you see a whole lot of people blaming Black people, especially in San Francisco and New York, for what is going on with the Asian community. But nobody ever wants to have a full-throated conversation about what they do to us. So back to my question, why did that man feel so emboldened as though he have a full-on chase and murder a Black boy and think he would get away with it? And you know what? Don't hold your beer, because he still might get away with it because they've gotten away with it before. If you believe the story I told you about Latasha Harlins, when soon the owner of Empire Liquor got away, she got convicted, but she got away with murdering that child. Don't you think that this one may not get away with it too?
Very powerful. Very, 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 very powerful. I agree with everything that you said in that. We are reliving the past has come back to get us. And you want to know why it keeps coming back? Because we don't address it. He that does not know their history, their past history, is doomed to repeat it. And even back in then, we didn't hold the people accountable. We are so quick to let the oppressor handle the situation that we know the outcome is going to be different than what we expect. We see it time and time and time and time and time again. But on the Asian crime bill that was signed, we could say that, okay, there's an Asian crime bill, but for that bill to have passed, it passed overwhelmingly in both the House and the Senate. So what does that mean? The CBC also signed off on the Asian crime bill, but yet the FBI and the Justice Department put out a report that said the one group in America that is discriminated against the most is the African American community. Yet the CBC overwhelmingly signed and approved an Asian crime bill, but won't even sign and approve a damn study of reparations or the Black people's plight. So here we are chasing our tails around and around with these so-called Black politicians. Now, remember years ago, I started my podcast, and I still have it, called Black Politicians Ain't Shit. This is what I was talking about even back then. Now, people say, well, we don't need no qualified immunity. We could do without that if we could get this bill passed. This is why we need to be unapologetic and definite in what we do. The death of this young man, it's in South Carolina. That is where Jim Bojangle Clyburn is from. To me, this young man's death is on Clyburn's hands. And I know some people are going to sit there and say, well, he couldn't have prevented it. That's not the point. If we had qualified immunity on the books, okay, that's going to help people from shooting us down in the streets. Now, these Asians, and I'm not making excuses for Asians, unfortunately, these people come from countries to where lawlessness is what it is. And, Demetria, you were in the Dominican Republic. So some people, you might have a store, and the way they deal with it is like, in Dominican Republic, in a lot of countries you go to, you have guys with wholehearted shotguns just walking around as the security, because that's how bad the crime is in these countries. I'm not making excuses for what they're doing, but this is what happens when you bring people over who have that same mindset that they still think they're in their home country. They've migrated to the United States, and they feel that they can do what they did in their home state here. That's why where I live right here, and when I was growing up in the neighborhood that I live in, there was no such thing as yard fences. In the front yard, you could walk across anybody's yard and it wasn't fenced off. But now we have a group of people that have come here from Mexico, and now they build fortresses to their yard and their property, and they can do what they want with their property, but it changes the aesthetic of the neighborhood. So where they're from, they're worried about cartels. So they lock themselves in these dungeons, and then you look at the aesthetics of the neighborhood and you say, wow. And you try to explain to them, you're not in Mexico anymore, you're in America. But they come here with that mindset. And it's very, very sad. But, Demetria, at the end of the day, I'm just going to say this, at the end of the day, it ain't going to mean much, because we're just going to go from one tragedy to the next tragedy to the next tragedy. And the cycle just keeps repeating itself. And unfortunately, I feel bad that we have to see this again, but this is where we're at until we start saying enough is enough as a collective group and start doing something about this and holding these politicians that supposedly represent us accountable. And what I mean by accountable doesn't mean you reelect them because they're the only option. There's another white guy. If a white guy's going to get in there and do the job and do what I need him to do in regards to my pocketbook and my family and my community, put the white guy in there. But I'm getting sick and tired of these black politicians keep giving us the butter biscuits and making excuses for why things have not changed in over 70 years.
Black America, you say I'm cussing up a storm today. I'm gonna try not to, but I'm mad. I'm really mad about this. And Easy, thank you so much for the donation. I love and appreciate you for that. Let's see here. And Artemis, how you doing? You say hold those raccoons accountable for their lack of action. Absolutely. And Olivia, how you doing? So they shoot Black Americans because they're told not to trust us and that we are the evil ones. Mercy, Dr. O. And J Bubba, how you doing? Says we are the where are the boule that claim the Asian hate crime bills for everyone? And we know who that is. Let's call it what it is. That's Roland Martin, right? But let me say this. Try not to cuss. Pretend like my daddy, he might be watching, okay? I'm going to say one cuss word. Damn the politicians. Like for real, damn the politicians. They never, ever, 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 ever gonna be for us as black people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that so many years ago. Republicans, Democrats, they not for black people. We should not be focused on them. We should be focusing on doing for self, which leads me to my point. If y'all heard the sister in that video where she said, well, I feel, and I'm paraphrasing, I feel like I don't even want to shop there no more. I should say, in all fairness, there is a boycott going on of that store. And I'm imagining that is probably in one of our neighborhoods there, because it sounds like, the 14-year-old ran to an apartment complex where other black people saw it happen. But why are they there in the first place? Y'all not going to tell me that was the first negative interaction anybody black has had with that store owner there. I'm not going to believe it. I don't believe that everybody will say, oh, it's a wonderful experience, because what they did was they hunted that black boy down. You know who they hunted him down like the people they learning from back in Jim Crow, when they used to hunt us down like wild animals. That's what they did to that black boy. But the other thing is, why are we allowing them to do that? You only know that most of the money they getting in that store comes from us. So again, we are financing our own oppression, not just by the white man, but by the yellow man as well. So to even think about going back up in there, if God forbid that store opened up, that's on us. No politician is making us do that. Now, I will say, yes, politicians, especially the city council, They allow certain stores to come in and out of our community. God knows we got a lot of liquor stores and weed shops and pawn shops and checking. We got a whole lot of that other stuff. They allow them to bring that stuff in our neighborhood. You can't put that stuff in the white folks' neighborhood, and even the Asians' neighborhood. I guarantee you, they don't have a whole bunch of the stuff they put in our neighborhoods. But at some point in time, we can say, politicians, if y'all put that in our neighborhood, I bet you they go belly up in the first month, because we're not going to patronize those businesses. And matter of fact, if y'all keep putting those businesses in our neighborhood, we're going to vote you out of here. See, we haven't gotten to that point. We got to stop expecting everybody else to do for us. We know what James Clyburn is about. He is never, ever, ever, ever going to rule on behalf of his people. He said it not too long ago. No, I don't think black people should get reparations. You ain't gonna get it, is what he said. This is a whole black man that is closer to Jim Crow and slavery than any of us that has gotten his butter biscuits. And now he telling the rest of us, y'all ain't gonna get reparations. But like you said, something like that happened in his home state, where an Asian man felt very emboldened to murder a black boy in cold blood. And we thinking about not going up into that store. They shouldn't see another black penny until forever. They should never, ever, and anybody else coming up in there should never see another black penny. With 1.3 trillion plus dollars that we as black people see in our community, we're giving 97% of that away to people like that. To people like that, that feels like, hey, son, come on, let's go hunt this little boy down like a wild dog and terminate him, exterminate him like a rodent or something. And then we're going to go back and sell some gas and Black and Miles or whatever else we selling to them after we get rid of him. For some water? Get the hell out of here.
Well, let me ask you this question, and I know you're hot and heated, and you should be, and everybody should be. When you are shot in the back, how could you even defend the fact that you were defending yourself? I mean, what could be his defense in regards to shooting somebody in the back, even in the military?
They said he had a gun,
but he's running. Yeah, but he's running away. So how could you even say, well, I was in fear of my life when the person is running away from? Even in the military, you really can't shoot somebody you're the enemy in the back necessarily. That would be considered like a murder because the guy is not engaging you. Even in the military, we have that rule. So the Asians have a lot of money. And I'm very sure, and I want you guys to think about this. You guys out here watching this program, I want you guys to think about this, how other groups move. Think about it. They have a lot of money. Do you think they're going to let that Asian man go against the justice system without collectively coming to his defense? They're going to defend this man with all the money they got in their community, just like they did 40 years ago. No problem. They will come up with the money if they have to buy politicians off, whatever it's going to take care of their own. Now, when we have somebody that has a problem, we don't do that. What's her name? Sandra Bland. She couldn't find $300 to bail her out of the jail. $300. So when you're talking to your Asian friends, and I have a lot of Asian friends, and a lot of them are silent, and I ask these questions wholeheartedly, they are going to come together to defend this man, even though this man is in the wrong.
Of course, just like you tried to say, oh, well, he had a gun. It's like, okay, many people have a gun, and if I'm not mistaken, I know it's not legal for 14-year-olds, but isn't South Carolina open to carry? I could be wrong. I don't know. But if he's running away and he was not using it on you, why did you leave the confines of your store, the safety confines, I should say, and chase this black boy into an apartment complex and murder him? So that doesn't jive. Was he pointing the gun at you and you didn't have to chase him? But again, they're used to getting away with that because they have been taught that there is no value on black life. They have been taught that from many examples that they have here in the United States. Hell, even artificial intelligence that's being trained to look at and listen to a whole bunch of images that come from the United States of America. They said even they are racist because of the things that they are learning from the fabric of America. So again, they come over here thinking, well, they're beneath us. you know, we could treat them any old kind of way and get away with it because let's keep it real. Asians, they have the most money here in America, so they are gaining a lot of power. And to do to you what the oppressor, which is also their oppressor in many cases, do to you and get away with it makes them as close to them as possible. But you're not going to tell me, not 1 minute in his mind did he say, well, I better not do this. I might get in trouble. He fully thought he was going to say, listen, officer, he came in, touched up on 4 water bottles. He had a gun. I chased him quite a ways, and I was in fear of my life. That's what he thought he was going to say. And the officer is going to say, well, if you have to do it, you have to do it, right? Because let's keep it real. South Carolina is very racist. It's like in the heart of the South, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but it's a very racist place to be. And they just learn racism from the oppressor. So there's nothing new there.
I mean, again, here we are with this tragedy. Next week, there's going to be another one. And the next week, there's going to be another one. And we have all these people in positions to do something about different things. I mean, Tanji Jackson, whatever her name is, she's up on the Supreme Court. She can't do anything, but, I mean, and I want you guys to think about this too. Go look later on this evening of any Black politician at the state level, the federal level, if they're going to speak out and say something about this. If those of you guys that watch MSNBC and CNN and all this other stuff, see if they're going to cover this story or even talk about it and say, enough is enough. We need a Black hate crime bill. I mean, when the Justice Department puts out a full-formed thing to show who is being discriminated and who needs protection, and the Democratic Party doesn't do anything about it, we don't expect the Republicans to do anything. Everybody, I hate when people say, well, what about the Republicans? We don't vote Republican in general. As mass, we do not vote Republican as Black people. So there's no need to talk about the Republicans. We're talking about the Democrats, who we vote for overwhelmingly. They do nothing about it but give us lip service. They're telling you the debt ceiling is more important than a Black person's life. Saving the country is more important than Black issues. 60, 70 years has passed by. When are we going to be a priority to deal with? When are they going to deal with us? When are they going to deal with us?
Hello, Buckhorse. How you doing? They're not going to deal with us until we deal with us.
Right.
They're not going to deal with us until we understand that we got to do for self. We got to deal with us. We got to organize and unify and practice group economics so we can have some real power. And then they're going to start to say, okay, Black people have the ability, because we have the ability. Now, we just don't use the ability because we're so busy waiting on the politicians to do something for us instead of doing for ourselves, right? They know, and I hate to say it, but in 2024, if Biden's going to be on the ticket, we're going to sign up, maybe not as much as we did, but we're still going to sign up overwhelmingly to go into the polls and put him and Kamala back in office, even though they have slapped their behinds at us and helped everybody else while we have helped them continuously get in the office. And so until we, take care of us, they're not going to ever take care of us. It's just the way it works.
Right.
So,
I mean, why should they? If we're not concerned about it, why should they be concerned about it? And, and that's what it really comes down to. If we don't care when a person gets murdered, and, it's almost like we have this attitude of, well, criminality is part of the Black lexicon. I mean, you can see it in movies. There was a movie, remember The Toy with Richard Pryor? And he was trying to show the kid, and the kid was like, they're trying to break into something. And Richard Pryor said, don't you know being a criminal is part of these are the things that we have to like really start addressing and saying that, yeah, there's criminality in all groups of people out here. I mean, it is what it is. But if we don't start addressing our issues and stop putting everybody else ahead of our own issues, you got people now claiming to be LGBTQ. Now they get more rights than we do. I mean, we're in a country that's supposed to be majority rule, and yet the minority gets preference over the majority. and we let it go on. We talk about these programs and these housing areas that are like death sentences for Black people. And yet, how many videos have you guys seen where these single mothers and just families are living in these Black mold infested apartments? I mean, for months, and it gets so bad to where the owner comes in finally because they want to get more money. They want to renovate the place and they want to evict them now. But they've been living in that squalor for years like that. And we don't do anything about it. We let people do what they do to us, and we don't say nothing about it until we hit the wall. I mean, it's sad.
Absolutely. There's somebody made a comment, but I forget what it was. I wanted to address only in America. He says, at least Donovan being honest, he damn near sounds like Steven from Django. Oh no. Woo, we keep on rolling. William, how you doing? He says, y'all please chill out in with the speaking violence. What needs to happen doesn't need to be spoken, family. I totally agree. Because they say the revolution will not be televised, and it don't need to be on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter either. So I totally agree with you. I'm going to open up the link in just a second. Cassandra, how you doing? He says, what is going on now is our fault. We can stop this at any time we want to change things. We can. We got to stop being dependent upon our oppressors. It's just that simple, right? And Stu, I hope I said that right. How you doing? It says Black families have to protect ourselves. We absolutely do. All right. So let's see. DSB, how you doing? He says, exactly, my warrior sister. And Charles, how you doing? He says Republicans told us they won't do anything for us. Right. We don't have no damn friends. Yeah, but they're not making it a secret, right? They are out in the open. Legislating. I mean, even Ron DeSantis, he's saying that Trump's First Step Act, that should be repealed. Now, y'all know the First Step Act predominantly helps Black people that have been incarcerated forever, a lot of times on low-level offenses. And Ron DeSantis is like, nah, y'all did the crime, you do the time. That let's get rid of that act. So, I mean, when Republicans they're not making it a secret that they should not help us in any way, shape, or form. But why are we expecting them to,
Right, and I think that's just like a way to deflect. What about what about the whataboutisms? No, we're talking about Democrats that are in the White House right now. All Biden has to do is an executive order right now. The 1994-95 crime bill, which is known as Biden's law, incentivized the states to incarcerate as many Black people as possible with a 90% incarceration rate. Right? Why hasn't that been repealed? Why hasn't the CDC talked about that? I mean, it's not rocket science here. But the thing is, though, at the end of the day, here's what we got to start talking about. Now, that young man was gunned down, right? I don't know if he comes from a single family home or if he has both his parents, but we're going to need each other as Black men and Black women to come together to put a stop to this nonsense. Whatever beef a single women have with me as an alpha male and vice versa, let's put that to the side. And we're not going to get out of this by ourselves. We need each other to navigate these waters.
Oh, Lord, I think you opened up a can of worms. Hopefully you didn't. I'm going to put the link in the chat, y'all. I think you might be able to see it on Facebook, but if not, you definitely got to come over to YouTube. Click the link if you have something brief to say, as we only have about 30 more minutes left on here to discuss this. All the asked to is, just kind of be careful what you say. I know it's very heated and I got the party started. I apologize for that, but not really. But just be careful of what you say so we don't get in trouble here.
Right. And let me add this. Here it is. A young man has been gunned down and he's going to be martyred. There's no doubt about it. They're going to have the big funeral. They're going to do the whole thing that we do in our community and whatever. My question to you guys is, was this man's death in vain? Is it just another death that we just go through and we just go through it? Or when are we going to have enough of this? When are we going to have enough? That's why I always say Black politicians ain't shit. I've always said that. And people came for my head when I was talking about when John Lewis was still alive and I was talking, I was showing John Lewis's record. People were like, how dare you show that this man didn't do anything? And, he's a legend and he's all this stuff, it's crazy. It's crazy. But again, How are you guys going to vote? Are you guys going to continue to vote for your own oppression? Or are you guys going to actually go out there and vote for change within the community by getting unapologetic leaders into positions that will do something, not only just politicians, but in the police department itself? When are you guys going to start showing up to city council meetings where it's more effective, what your voice has to do at that level, versus worried about if Biden's going to become president or not? It doesn't matter if Biden's going to become president if you're a regular person. It doesn't matter. It's already been decided.
And yes, Black America says no, the First Step Act was only for federal crime. Yes, indeed. But this is Ron DeSantis saying that if he becomes president, because, you know, he's going up against that of Donald Trump, if he becomes president, that it will be repealed. So that's what he is saying. So yes, on the federal level, Black people voting, also known as, Michael, I'm going to bring you up, but I'm going to ask you to be brief as I feel we're going to have other people come up. So here we go. How you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing okay. How about you guys? How you guys doing today?
We're doing well. What you got on the topic?
Yeah, so after thinking about what you guys said about Asians committing crimes against Black people, I'm not very surprised. The cycle is repeating itself. Going back to 1991, when Latasha Harlins was murdered for orange juice that didn't cost that much money, and that you know, she had the right to defend herself against the Asian store owner. That Asian store owner had no right to use a 12-gauge shotgun. 12-gauge shotgun and bam, Latasha Harlins. And plus, Latasha Harlins was taking a $2 bill to excuse me, to pay for orange juice.
Right. And you know, I didn't want to cut you off, but we already covered all of that in the beginning. Perhaps you missed it, but do you have anything new to add?
I do have something new. I do have something new to add, and I put in the comments earlier. Sorry to be late. Just came home from work.
No worries.
Excuse me. I would say this, and what I'm about to say is going to be very powerful. The only way to get Asians to care about Black people or to really give Black potential is repealing the anti-Asian hate crime bill by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court needs to repeal that bill to repeal it, because it's not going to change how Asian people are going to view Black people. You know, not going to view them positively. So I think the Supreme Court needs to do is struck down the anti-Asian hate crime bill and then start from scratch. And then it's going to force Asian people to really, really rethink their beliefs and attitude towards Black people. The only way to get an anti-Black hate crime legislation passed, because otherwise Asians, when they got anti-Asian hate crime bill passed, they really don't care about Black people. It makes them very emboldened, makes them very entitled. And two is Asians, they're too conservative. I have issues with my own people in my own community because a lot of them, they think too conservative. And sometimes I get into big arguments with my own people in my community. And that's why I say, Don, I say to Donovan Sadiq, you talk about how Asian people are good people. Yes, that's true. But if I were you, Donovan, since you said Asian people are very silent about Black issues, if I were you, it's time to cut ties with them, because they're not going to change. No matter, you've been friends with them for so long, right, Donovan? So I think you need to ask them the critical question. So if they really care about us Black people, are you gonna defend for us or you're not? If they're not gonna defend for us, Don, we have to tell them, then you're not gonna defend for us, then fine, we're gonna have to cut the friendship. It's simple as that. I know you're too good to do it, but don't you have to really, really do it, because the way I see Asians, they're not gonna change. They never change and they never will. You know, never will, based on history, based on how they move, how they think, because they're too white supremacists, and it just makes me mad. And sometimes I had to be like Steven Seagal to get their attention, or to really, really kind of like, how do I say this? You know, like in church, you had to put them in the water, in the bowl, right? I'm sorry, in the bucket, to have a different belief system. And so I just want to know your opinion on that, Donovan or Demeets.
All right. Well, thank you. We'll answer that question, but I'm gonna let you go so somebody else can come up here. But thank you once again for coming up here. And you made some pretty good statements. I think Donovan is really thinking about it. He's going to have to consider. I have my views on it, but I'll let Donovan answer that first. But thank you so much, Michael, for coming up.
Well, real quick, I'm not making excuses for my friends, but see, I know who my friends are. Okay. So as a military person living overseas, a lot of their parents married white racist men in the military. I mean, that's just how it is. So they're going to be who they're going to be, even though they're very good people. But see, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how they feel about me, as long as I know where they stand, because it isn't really going to be them that has to fight the battle. I have to fight the battle. I just need them to speak up more. If they choose not to do so, then so be it. And what comes with that will come with that when the time comes. But right now, as a Black, I have to fight my own battle. Like I said, the Asian community got a crime bill signed with two Asian senators that said to Biden, if you do not give us this crime bill, none of your legislation will go through. Two of them, two senators, were able to leverage a crime bill. And guess who signed off on all of that? The CBC. The CBC could have said, you know what? We ain't going to sign off on it either until we get our people what they want. There's only 5 votes that separate the power in the House. 5. So, again, I'm not making excuses for my friends. I know who they are and what they are, and I don't expect them to fight my battle.
So y'all talking about, I believe it was Michael that you guys are referring to. Yeah, he is a frequent participant of the show and that. So that's who y'all are speaking of. And he is actually an Asian man. I'm going to say this. I don't like to deal in absolutes ever. Well, I say rarely. I like to deal in absolutes, which means it's either or, or all. Because I don't think everybody in the Asian community are bad people, just like everybody in the white community is not bad people. Everybody in the Black community is not bad people. However, as we had a Hispanic gentleman come up here last Sunday, basically saying that the Latino community has stood hand in hand with us. And I just gave him some pushback, said, no, we've stood hand in hand with y'all. But the best way to stand hand in hand with another community, if you will, is to help us get what we want. Y'all know we want reparations, but the fact of the matter is many in your community do not want Black people to have reparations. So if you're speaking about marches and stuff, yeah, y'all showed up to some marches, but guess what? Y'all, and I'm speaking of the Asian and Hispanic community, y'all are the biggest benefactors of those marches that were done by our feet, and the brutalization that took place with Black people, during the Civil Rights Movement and a whole host of other movements. They are the direct benefactors of those movements. So, no, they're not all bad. But if you really want to help Black people, help Black people. Otis, can I see your face before I bring you up on the big screen? Let's see here. Angela, you say, what are the Black men going to do? Black men want to lead and be respected. What are they going to do other than complain? I'm gonna let y'all go. I don't even have the energy to get into that. Otis, can I see your face, please?
Well, we'll see right there with Angela.
Okay,
I understand what she's saying in that, but
hold on a second. You can, if you don't want to be seen, you can blank your face out if you want. But if you're cool, I'll bring you up.
Yeah, I agree with what Angela's saying. What are the men going to do? But unfortunately, it's going to take not just the men by themselves. It's going to take all of us together, men and women, to make a stand. So there we go.
Absolutely. Brother Otis, what's on your mind today? I muted you. You can unmute yourself. How you doing, man?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, I just saw the news clip on this, and every other race that come in our neighborhood, they practice being racist and building up their courage to disrespect us. It really started off with the Hispanics back in the early 90s when they started calling us the N-word and stuff when we allowed them to do it. And there was really not that much pushback. And the older generation, I'm going to say a lot of older Black women and not the men, they have this thing in which they think that God wants them to vote when they don't really have to vote. Like, they pray to God they're making the right decision, despite in their own minds that they know that they shouldn't be voting. And I feel like what happened out there, I looked at the clip. One lady said she's going to protest, and protesting is over with. It's time to let these people know that even here in Chicago, where I live at, we're gonna have to start putting hands on people in order to let the black men are gonna have to start putting hands on other races of people and that's in our community disrespecting us. And that's the only way that we're gonna get the attention of people in politics. Because once they see us start putting hands on people like we used to do before they came out with these laws, we're gonna have to get to a point where you just say, I don't care about going to jail for a week. I don't care about that. With the way how we got technology with the cameras and stuff and videos and stuff, and I just feel like if people that can raid the Capitol and majority of them got away with it, then we should be looking at that too. You know, we shouldn't just care about going to jail. If a lot of matter of fact, a lot of black men that sitting at home and not working, they should be the main ones getting ready to jump up and do something. And about something like this. Like I said, burn the store down, tear it up, or make sure that the whoever the mayor and the governor is, make sure they take that business away from them and punish them people by making it to a black-owned business. Because I know for a fact there's a lot of black people in that area that want their own businesses. They're not getting the grants. Just like here in Chicago, how Lori Lightfoot did a lot of black people. She didn't want to get them the money, and so we can expand. And I think that's the problem too. With the Hispanics, they're talking about how we support them, but they don't support us. They don't support us at all. They didn't show us the blueprint on how to build up our neighborhoods like theirs. Because the thing is, black people got to realize, if another race wants your money and wants you to depend on them, why would I want to show you how to fish and eat how to fish for yourself instead of depending on me fishing for you all the time? So I'm just waiting for the time that when the black community start putting hands on people, and I'm gonna be right there with them.
Well, let me say this, and Mary, you read my mind. So while I get you, you know, Malcolm X says stop singing and start swinging. So I hear you with that one. But I want to read her comment. You don't need to put hands on anyone. Stop spending your money with them. They will leave your neighborhood. And to me, I think there's a lot. But listen, that you gonna putting hands on a lot of people because the politicians, they do allow them to come and do what they want to do in our neighborhoods. But if it's not lucrative, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, they ain't gonna let you open up an Egg Foo Young a restaurant in their neighborhood. Why are we letting them open up fried chicken restaurants in our neighborhood? Because they know we're gonna go in there and spend all our money in their businesses. And so I think there's other things because let's just keep it a buck. You know, you put your hands on any one of them, you ain't going to jail for no week. Sometimes they'll put your ass in jail for life. So before we have any more black people incarcerated, there are things that we can do before we get there. To like some of the, because if in that same vein, if we gonna put our hands on them, then we need to put our hands on our own people for Watusi and their asses up into those stores and spending their money with people who don't like them, right? It need to be some left and right administered to everybody. Black America,
I thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying.
I thought about that. When you got people, when the people that feed you, clothe you, and sell you weave, a lot of black people are brainwashed. How did you get them to stop going there? How did you do that? Because in Chicago, the south side of Chicago, the plan is to make sure those black businesses that are coming up, make sure that they fall. Somehow they wind up getting those grants and they own their own communities on the south side of Chicago. And now it's been the problem with the Arabs and the Asians and stuff. But I don't think it's a black-owned beauty supply store in Chicago. I'm not for sure. If it is, I don't know about it. But how do you stop people from going there to those restaurants when they have a mindset of saying, well, where else I'm gonna go?
But so I hear that. But when we start having conversations like this, start teaching each other about what we should be doing, putting the responsibility back on us, then that's when we start changing the mindset. And I get you. I'm pretty angry too. I get the whole rock'em sock'em thing, but we know that it don't work like that for us here in America, because as we saw, that Asian man and his son felt like, hey, we're not going to get in trouble.
They chased them. They chased them. I didn't know that. They chased them down.
Right.
And I'm like, if other people were out there and saw that, man, I'm just saying. I mean, somebody should have took a car and ran their aces over. I'm just saying. But the Christian person would tell you, well, we have to leave it in God and Jesus' hands and let them deal with this. And see, that's the kind of thing that I don't like that. I don't like that. This is why I always say that Black people, we need to hold another conference like we did back in the early 70s, where every state Black people came. We need to put the Black athletes in a place. I mean, put them on Front Street and ask them, are you willing to donate? All you seen was going on with Black people. Are you willing to donate money or open up your own businesses in the Black communities where you once lived there, or in any other community? And if they refuse to do that, then we need to put their names out there and let everybody know we're not buying your jersey, we're not supporting your team. When you come around, we ain't gonna even say hello.
Now that's how you do it without having to get physical. Black America, what you got on the conversation?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. How you doing today?
All right. Hello. And you cussing up a storm today, girl, in that early thing, you cussing and fight. You better cut it out. Cut it out.
My mouth out with soap after this.
I'll be right there to do it for you. All right. So I had a couple of few things to say. That the reason why I really came up is that Troglodyte made a horrible comment talking about when are Black men going to stand up and do something.
Well, who is Troglodyte?
I just call her that. You said her name was Angela or something like that.
Now, come on, brother. Come on, brother.
I talk bad about people too. I just don't use that vernacular you do.
But you know what? In all fairness, the sister was asking a question.
And this is the problem with her question. I love you to death. I love your daughter to death. You're not married. She's not married. That's two Black women. Is that Black? Hold on. You keep saying it ain't your fault, but you're not going to bend your knee. You're not going to listen. You won't do what a man says.
Wait, hold on.
Listen. Hold on. Can I at least can I get 30 seconds? Thank you. So with that being said, with women not listening to men, we have no community. You can't be chosen because you always want to interject, intercede, cut people off, and bump your gums. It's not going to
Can't say that about all Black women.
Man, listen. You said a lot of simple things, bro. Like I don't know where you from. I'm just an average guy. But some of the things you said were very questionable. You have, and it's never any absolutes. It's never any. Oh, it's all people this, all people that.
It's not all Black people. It's just some of us. We got some bad. We got some good Black men. We got some good Black men and good Black women. It's just that
I'm talking about the majority, sir.
Bad people make themselves available quicker than good people.
Sir, I'm talking about the majority. The majority is all that matters. The majority of our women are not married. The majority of our homes are broken. We can't make a solid fist. We don't have a community because we have no women standing behind our men. Our women want to be on the front line.
You said no women. So you mean all? You said no women. I'm going by your words. Go ahead.
Okay, we have the majority of women are not standing behind men. They're not going to listen to men. Nobody, I don't want to be led. I want to be in a partnership. That's not the way any other community works. That's not the way any place in the entire world works. Only in the
Some black
black
men are Pookie and Ray Rays.
man. Come on, brother. All black
You
men
said
are
they won't listen to men.
all,
I mean,
all, all black
I would
men.
not
Listen,
want. I'm put like this. I wouldn't want my sister listening to no man that I know that's out there gang banging, killing black people, selling drugs, and then trying to jump up.
okay,
No. My sister and my niece is not gonna.
So let me ask you something. Do you believe that men go through phases in their life?
Every man do.
Every man do. You're damn right. So every man goes through different phases in your life. You don't start off making $100,000 or $200,000 a year when you're 20 years old. You're gonna screw up. You have to grow up and grow into things. It's the mentality of your mindset. Men adapt and grow. Every scar you get and it heals, you learn from it. Without that,
and look at the parents who brought them up. Look at the parents that brought them up.
Man, can you let me finish, bro? That's all I'm asking. I wasn't gonna cut you off and jump in. I didn't even unmute myself until Demetra said. What I'm telling you is, I started off gang banging and selling dope and going to jail and been to many prisons. Now I don't do any of that, and I make a great living. You see what I mean? People start off at different stages in life, and women, you wanna wait till I'm 50 and you 50. Oh, let's get together. You too old for me now. Now guys are looking for younger women, but the younger women, they are running behind the older women, just like do you know that they're making another movie, The Color Purple, all over again? Are you aware of that?
That's going to flop just like Space Jam 2, but go ahead.
Brother, do you know that The Color Purple ruined this country and the way that a lot of our women think in this country for decades? The Color Purple came out.
How old are you?
I'm 50.
You 50.
I'm 50.
I honestly, I wouldn't say that because, you know what?
You wouldn't say what though?
That The Color Purple almost destroyed what? The black community? No, not in general. Not in Chicago. Not in Mississippi. The places I've been to, no, I didn't. Because we knew that stuff was a lie. A lot of that stuff was a lie. No, it's like this. We knew what they were trying to push. And we were saying, why were you trying to push this? And that's not even happening the way how you put it. Like, you make it seem like all black men in that movie were predators at on their own daughters. You make it seem like that you know what the theme was? That's how they had played black men, and we had to fight through that. And thank goodness that you had Minister Louis Farrakhan at that time when he was talked about it. You had Brothers on the Street. You had talking about it. You had Dr. Malachi York here in Chicago talking about it. You had even women that talked about that. And watch the propaganda. Sister Soldier.
Okay, are you done yet? Are you done?
Go ahead.
All right.
I got a question. Go ahead.
So, brother,
if y'all don't mind, I want to jump in here as soon as I can.
Okay, let me do this right quick. It's only 50,000 Muslims in this country. Okay, I'm talking about the nation of Islam. Listen, brother, come on now. You can't. I'm trying to be respectful,
go ahead.
Man. God damn. So it's only 50,000 Nation of Islam Black Americans in this country. Most of us don't get down with the Nation of Islam. Okay, Most of us don't care about Farrakhan or Marcus Garvey or any of the others. Okay, the problem is in the 80s, we had families, we had neighborhoods. Like Donovan said, we didn't need to go around somebody's fence. We used to run through everybody's yard straight down, racing. You get in trouble because you didn't have no shoes on when you went outside. Now all of our neighborhoods are integrated. Back then we had families, mothers and fathers. It's only 25%, in the low 20s of our women are married and that want to get married. Are you telling me that movie didn't have some kind of detrimental effect on the minds of our women? Okay, go ahead, D. I'm putting myself back on mute.
No. Don't be on mute. I want to ask you a question. I got a question to ask you. I want to ask you a question.
Let me jump in here. I had to drink some water on this one. I wish it was some whiskey. Black America, can I ask?
No, you don't.
Oh, yes, I do. Trust me. Black America love, can I ask you some questions? Black America?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead. Go ahead.
We want to go back to the color purple because I've heard this argument before. Okay. How many? Okay, we've already established that you have 16 children, right?
Yeah.
How many mothers belong to the 16 children?
3.
So you got 3 baby mamas and they're all 16 children?
Yes.
Okay, how many of those baby mamas did you marry?
1.
How much of an influence did the color purple have in any of those relationships?
Very mightily. very mightily.
Wait, I'm going somewhere. So did Mr., who was the antagonist in the a-hole, for lack of better words, in the color purple, did he tell you to have 16 children with 3 women, 2 of them you didn't marry?
No, my father told me to have as many kids as I can afford. My dad, that's what my father told me.
Okay, let me. I'm gonna walk into this conversation begrudgingly. What did the color purple? How did the color purple influence your baby mamas?
Well, it gave them the sense of that I don't need you. I'm better off without you.
Okay,
I'm grown.
Stop right there. Wait. Now I've seen the color purple 11 times. I could probably quote this movie. What part of the color purple did any woman tell a man that she didn't need him?
When Celie jumped in, I seen it too. God is trying to tell you something. That's my favorite part in the last end of the movie. I watched. Hold on. I watched it with all my girls. When Celie jumped in the back of that car with the drunken singer girl talking about anything you do, you every little subtle cue. I'm a poker player. I pick up on everything. Every little sudden cue or word that a woman says is subconscious. When she jumped in the back of that truck and left her man, he might have been a dickhead, but you know what? He had been taking care of her. He had been providing for her. He had a big old farm and horses and all of these things, which mean he was a person of means. When it was time for her sister and them little African kids to come back, he paid for that. Like you have to
wait, because we meet. I don't know what color purple you watch, but I got a couple of questions for you. Now this is where, this is, as Donovan would tell you, sometimes when you talk past the close, okay, you argue past the point. If the color purple was so much of a horrible movie, why in the Everly, I almost said the F word, did you show your daughters that movie?
I didn't show my daughters that movie. I said, yeah, my girls. I got girlfriends. What you mean? Okay, black women love that movie.
But wait. Why did you sit down and show them such a horrible movie?
I didn't.
And it's wait, because I'm just listen. I'm going off what you said, brother.
Okay.
You said that movie.
I said I sit down and watched it, but go ahead.
Okay, but if it has such a negative influence on black women, why would you sit down and watch that with your girlfriends?
I did not. Have you ever seen the Titanic?
I have.
Okay. I would have never seen it if I wouldn't have went with a woman. Along with a bunch of different rom-coms or anything with any LGBTQ, any kind of Notebook, even Fences with Denzel Washington. I don't give a daggone about any of that stuff that has to do with a tearjerker or heart. I want to see somebody get the head split open. Those are the movies I like. But sometimes you have to do what a woman likes. Don't you agree? If I came to Houston and I take you to a movie, I'm going to the movie that you want to go to.
Brother, can I ask you a question?
Yes, miss.
How many times have you seen The Color Purple before you sat down with your girls and rewatched it?
What do you mean?
You said you watched it with did you watch it with all, hold on a second. Did you watch it with all your girlfriends at once, or did you watch it with one and then watch it with another? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, they don't get along that well, so we definitely watched it separately.
You rewatched the movie you knew was bad for Black America. No pun intended with your name. But I'm confused. Why would you rewatch something that dilapidated the Black community, which I'm going to say it right now, forgive me, that is bullshit. That The Color Purple dilapidated the Black community. The Black community was already dilapidated before the movie Color Purple came into existence. Did that movie have problems? Yes, it did demonize Black men. Hold on a second. Demonize Black men unfairly, but to say that movie alone dilapidated Black households, because on one hand, all of you, Donovan, Black American, a lot of you other people talk about the civil rights movement and the feminist movements helped dilapidate the Black community. Well, when did the feminist movement take place? Long before The Color Purple came out. So here y'all is once again blaming something outside of yourself and the Black woman for the dilapidation of the Black community. Surely we're not going to say a movie is responsible for that.
Can we say that it exasperated it? Can we say that, Demetra?
No.
We can't say if you call Black men niggas and bums every day that's not going to look badly on Black men. Like, are you serious?
Wait a minute. Listen. No, we cannot hold that movie responsible, because if you tell me that a movie made Black people do and say those things, you're also telling me that Black people are just stupid and do not have the ability to rationally think for ourselves. Because I'm going to tell you, when that movie came out, I was probably 12 or 13. It was during Christmas time. Around that time, I remember my grandmother and my mother, who were married, they came back and they were talking about how wonderful the movie is. And I never once saw neither one of them go to their husbands, you Black Negro, you ain't this, that. I never heard them talk like that. So maybe, and no shade to your mama, I'm sure she's a lovely woman, and Donovan, and anybody else's mama, who is blaming The Color Purple for that. Maybe your mama ain't got the sense God gave her cricket and kicked her Black man out the house because she watched The Color Purple. But y'all not going to put that on the backs of Black women, that we too stupid to allow a movie that was fiction, by the way, to influence us, to have us not get along with our man. We wasn't getting along with y'all Black asses before the movie came out.
Oh, okay. Can I say something now? Are you still going?
Let me let Otis jump.
Go ahead, Otis.
I got two questions for you. Did you see that movie when it first came out?
Who are you talking to, me or Demetra?
You. Did you see the movie when it first came out?
I'm pretty sure I didn't. I did not.
Oh, you did not. Oh, so how old were you when that movie? Were you okay? So you seen that movie like what, when it wasn't in the theaters no more? That you didn't go see it?
Yes.
Wait a minute. You went to the theater and seen it?
No, I seen it when it was not in the movie theaters anymore. My dad wouldn't allow anything like that, no more than my mom would allow me to watch The Exorcist.
Okay, how old was you think you was at that time when you saw that? I'm trying to get to a point real quick.
Probably maybe 19, 20.
Okay, good. I got this other question. If you saw that movie and knew what it did to black women, why did you continue having all those kids?
Uh, once again, sir, my pockets have never been hurt.
I'm
I
just
went.
saying. No, I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I'm just saying.
Hold on,
If you no, why did you?
hold
So
on,
it's about
hold on,
money. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
hold on, because life is not. Yes, having a financial backing and a strong family grounds allows you to do more than just the average person. The problem now is we have no strong family grounds in this country. So the amount of children that I had, and let me tell you something. All of my kids are grown except for one. I got a 5-year-old that's not grown. All of them have graduated high school and either went to college or the military. So I think I did a pretty bang up job. You know what I mean? I didn't lose nobody to drugs or on the pole. We try and keep our girls off of the pole. So I didn't lose nobody to drugs, pole, or any kind of gang violence or anything like that. And I did all of that. You see what I mean? So
Okay.
I did a pretty bang up job being a great influence. So go ahead. What else you want to say?
Okay then. That was I just want to know, like when you seen that movie, you continue having kids despite you was saying how much damage it did to the black community. I was just wondering, like, why would you keep having kids at that time? But my thing is this: I'm glad you did what you did for your kids and stuff like that. I'm glad you did that. I was just wondering, like, if I felt that way, that movie did damage to the black community, I wouldn't be trying to have that many kids, and with 4 different women, I wouldn't have did that. But to each his own. But I'm just saying that I wouldn't put a lot of women through that stuff, knowing that I'm making all these kids, and then I gotta, I don't know what your finances was at that time. Maybe you was able to take care of them. But I just wouldn't put myself through that situation and did that. But you did it, and you were successful with it, according to what you're telling us. So okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
That movie had no bearings on whether people are having kids or not. Hell, it's still 70% of kids born out of wedlock in our communities still now today. So that movie has no bearings. I started having kids when I was 15.
You just said it did. You just said it did damage to the black community.
The black community. What does that have to listen? What does that have to do with my person, bro? That don't have anything to do with me as a person.
Okay. For you, it didn't do no damage to you. Okay, but you said it do no damage to you.
Listen, I live in Las Vegas, right? I still live in the black community. People say you're crazy for living around all of when people would come over from my high class part of life, they'd be like scared. And why are you living over here? It's because that's where I feel comfortable. Because I'm sorry, Demetra, I'm finna say this. Because I'm a nigga. Even though I make great money and always made great money, I've always been a nigga. So yeah, I'm just a little bit smarter and do things in kind of a different way. But I like being around my people. When they had opportunity zones, this is kind of steering it back on the subject. The problem is these Asians and Indians and all of these people, they can come to our communities and open up these places because when they come to this country, they have a community backing them. They get a stipend. Okay, I used to have a shop.
Yep,
I used to have shops, and the Korean people would come in and they would give them, I think it's like something upwards of $50,000 per person in the family. So when they come in, they already have a head start and a nest egg. You see what I mean? When they were doing the opportunity zones, I was like, yo, me and my girl was like, let's open up a Little Caesars over here in the hood. We don't have any pizza joints over here in the hood. Let's open it up to our next to my mechanic shop. they were like, oh no, you have to be it was some kind of mutual fund place to even use the opportunity zones. They didn't care how much money I had. They didn't care about my buddies that were politicians or anything like that.
Let me jump in here, y'all. And I'm gonna give Otis and Black America 30 seconds to give a final word. I have a young lady up here, but she says she wants to speak without the men, and irregardless of Donovan. And any ladies who want to come up, and sometimes the ladies feel a little bit intimidated. Not saying that y'all are saying anything bad, but
come
you know,
on.
they just want. Why? Okay, but let me ask y'all a question. How many women do y'all actually see come up here? I'm not saying y'all doing anything to them. Please don't mistake me in that. I'm not saying y'all doing anything to them. A lot of ladies don't come up.
Well, a lot of ladies don't come up, and they do feel intimidated. And I'm not saying they should, but the things that they say to me, sometimes they're horrible things. But I know I got Donovan over there, and he's going to be nice, but he'll give a little pushback because he is a man. We don't get to be men anymore. If you're a man, if you say the F word,
y'all can stay. She said y'all can stay. So all right, I'm gonna give her.
I'm going back on mute then.
Okay, everybody on mute. I'm gonna put myself on mute too. How you doing, LaJoy? And everybody else who came on here that I did not verbally get to say hello. That guy from Texas, everybody, hello. We're gonna be on here about another 10 minutes because I am starving. I have not eaten all day. All right, Deanna, what's going on with you?
Hello. How are you? Donovan, shut up. Donovan, why are you laughing?
Come on, what's on your mind?
I just want to say three things. And if anybody interrupts me, I'm gonna go off. So let me finish. Okay. First things first. I have seen The Color Purple a billion times. That was Grandma's favorite movie. R.I.P. to that queen. But out of all the times I've seen that movie, I never was like, F black men. Yeah, we hate them. Anybody paying attention to that movie knows that was a movie about a person who happened to be a black woman finding self-agency and self-worth in herself through a unfortunate situation. The movie wasn't even really about Mr. He was just another unfortunate situation in her life.
Okay, and what's your second point?
Two, I seen Donovan was talking about how Stella got her groove back. I just watched that movie for the first time recently, and that movie, I'm confused on where it was negative towards black men, because if anything, Stella got snatched up by a black man. I mean, it's unfortunate that he came out to be what he was later on in life, but that man had snatched her up multiple times in that movie and put her in her submissive, quote unquote, place.
Right. Well, okay. Let me answer that real quick and be real quick about it. Now, when we talk about the Arena Dread, that's what Stella got her groove back was about, Arena Dread. And so the negative part, what I got out of the movie, because I didn't see all of it, I saw parts of it, was the fact that, you mean to tell me she couldn't find a man in the United States? The very arguments that women use against men, the passport bros and stuff, is the very thing that women were doing back in the 80s. So that was the negative part that I was kind of took out of that. It was very hypocritical.
Wait, hold on. If I didn't have these little bitty shorts on, I'd jump up and spin around like the Tasmanian devil. Because no, you did not ask why they couldn't find no man over here when y'all,
period,
all over the world trying to find, women talk about y'all trying to find wives in every other place.
No, we're talking about it was based on something from the 80s that you guys have been doing that. Rena Dread was going on in the 80s.
But also, wait, hold on. Don't you always say that the passport brothers ain't new?
No, they're not. But when you talk about the passport brothers, though, are you talking about military men that are stationed in other countries? Or are you talking about these new guys that never been anywhere, going somewhere, acting up?
Now you're trying to qualify.
No, I'm not. Because in the 80s, black people weren't traveling like that. They weren't.
Okay, but this is that BS that me and Donovan be arguing about, because how you got a very opinionated opinion about something you didn't watch? Because when I watched it, she was not looking for that man. She went on a trip to mind her business, and he was there pursuing her.
You also got to remember, it's a movie, so they're going to put in a little diatribe. It's kind of like saying, like when Tina Turner said, "I got my jaw broken and I went on and sing." Everybody knows if you get your jaw broken, you're not singing nowhere. It's just something that they throw in the movie that they kind of leave out, whatever, for you to fill in the blanks. I'm not saying it's true or not, but those of us that know what Rent-A-Dread is and know that was going on. She
actively went out there.
Yeah, we know that was going on back in the early 80s. Even Eddie Murphy talked about it when the girl was talking about Dexter St. Jock and stuff. That's what he was talking about. Rent-A-Dread. That's exactly what he was talking about.
This image just sounds very convenient to someone who did not watch it nor read the book.
No. I watched a good portion of it. I didn't want to watch the whole thing, but I got the whole gist of what it was. And when Toni Morrison actually went on and did like Donahue and was talking about like different things and and their relationship crumbled, he kind of filled in the spots, and I felt bad for her or whatever. But she basically went out there for Rent-A-Dread, basically.
If you say so, Donovan, you must know Stella. You know something I didn't see, and that's fine. But my third thing, it sounds like a lot of lack of accountability up here because I'm not trying to be shady, but I'm just saying Black America said that, the movie has done a detriment to the Black community and all this stuff. But on the same end, he says he's one individual person and that what he does in his life does not affect the Black community, but he has 16 Black kids and he only married 1/3 of the mothers. So that's 16 kids who lived their whole childhood seeing him not commit to a Black woman, build a strong Black unit.
So what you're saying is these single mothers who have multiple baby daddies are doing the same exact damage. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, anybody would be doing the same, but more damage than a movie. I think 18 plus years is going to do more damage than 3 hours, which that's just high. That movie was not that long. 3 hours of a movie could ever do.
And some people are saying that that Deanna is my daughter. I shall neither confirm or deny.
Since baby girl said something about me, can I actually tell her what?
She grown. She 30.
You can.
Okay, D. So I started having kids when I was 15. Okay, and ask your mom growing up in LA and Donovan, and I'm talking about LA, 35th and Normandy. You don't know if you're going to be alive the next day. Okay, so my life was 100 miles an hour on the 101 going real fast. Didn't say everything that I did was right, but I did make a correction, and my children did see me not only commit to a woman, but they seen me commit to them, because I did have time to spend not just with one of them. Even when the kid's mother tried to keep me out of their life, yeah, I went to jail a couple of times from in front of their house for that. So is what you think it's a lot of brothers that try and be in their children's lives and the women hold them at bay. Me, I'm kind of a little bit more tenacious, so I get out and get it. I've been cutting grass since I was 6 years old. I'm a hustler to the core. All right. So it doesn't have anything to do with how many kids you got and this, that, and the other. It has to do, and once again, all have went to college, all have went to either college or the military, graduated from high school. Nobody's on, drugs or anything like that. And everybody's doing fine. It's a lot of people. I got 13 aunts and uncles on both sides. I got hundreds of cousins. Okay. It's a lot of people in my own family that can't say that that's what happened with their own kids, especially at this age. You know what I mean? In and out of prison, in and out of drug rehab, or, Some of them, even some of my little cousins, have passed away. So I like I say, I think I did a bang up job with what I did.
So,
Go ahead.
hold on. Can I just ask?
Mm-hmm.
So, are you saying, in spite of the mistakes you made and the things you did and the things that you've changed, your kids were still able to be amazing people?
Amazing, successful people.
So
So
you don't.
so it doesn't have anything. It's not the person and what they do and their lifestyle. Have you ever heard the term? It's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Yes.
So, and that is a big part of life, and that is what a lot of us in the so-called Black community are missing. It's not what you do. It's how you do it. The My Pillow guy, the owner of that $1 billion corporation, is an admitted crackhead, but yet and still he sells his pillows all over the world. So it's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's how you comport yourself. It's being able to effectively code switch and move in and out of spaces that everybody may not be able to obtain. You understand?
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
get what you're saying. So basically, you're saying, yes, in spite of all that, they were amazing people. So you don't think that in spite of the 2.5-hour movie that Black women seen, they weren't able to differentiate fact and fiction, fiction and reality, and go on to have healthy relationships with Black men?
If you're asking me,
I wasn't.
and we're not saying every woman is like that, but I talk to a lot of my lady friends, and they talk about abusive relationships. And the first thing I ask them, Deanna, is, "Have you ever been in an abusive relationship?" "Well, no." "Well, then what are you talking about? Have you ever been cheated on?" "Well, no," because the modern woman won't have that. What they're doing is they're projecting what their bitter aunts and people that were bitter before them told them, the relationships that they were in, onto themselves. And it's like, well, you've never been in that situation, so you don't, so why would you even have you can have an opinion about it, but you never experienced it. You saw a movie, or you did this, or you did that, but you never have been in a relationship, because like yourself, Deanna, you would never put yourself in a situation like that. Something goes left, you're out the door. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Okay, well, I can say,
And I'm going to submit to you something else. As far as women go, and you look on the internet or movies or with the BBLs, who's more susceptible to the entertainment value of what's put on TV? Who brings it in more to themselves, men or women?
I don't know. I would imagine. I don't have any hard data on it. If you're asking me to guess,
look it up. Look it up. Women are more susceptible. I'm gonna speak on something Donovan said earlier. I got a lot of Asian friends also. I do business with Asians and white boys, and all of the white guys that married those Asian chicks, they say detestable things about Asians. They very racist towards Asians, but the Asian women are sucked in and they bow to what their men say. They acquiesce to it, even though it is completely horrible. I mean, I've had to check my buddy John a few times. Completely horrible things they'll say. But the Asian women don't care. They stay right there because they know that coming back out here, it is only going to get worse for you. It's nothing for you out here. So women are much more susceptible when a village or a tribe would take over another tribe. They kill all of the men, all of the boys, and who would they take? They take the women. It's not only because they can procreate and make themselves bigger with them. It's because the women know that's how we're going to live. That's how we're going to survive. So that's the way it is. That's the way it's been for thousands of years. You can't fight your biology as a woman. You just can't fight it. Men are always going to fight. Women, they're going to eventually bow.
So let me say this.
how'd that relate to TV?
Let me just say this, because my stomach is like in knots. Like, you better eat something. Um, Originally we started off talking about.
Bring your mama a sandwich.
Originally we started talking, and I had a hard cycling class today too. Originally we started talking about what happened in South Carolina with the 14-year-old that was shot in his back by an Asian store owner, just like that of Latasha Harlins. And so I kind of want to just move that back to that in conclusion, that we as Black people, we have to stop waiting for everybody else to save us and to do justice by us. We need to start doing justice by ourselves, by practicing group economics, practicing self-love and love of each other. Because as we see here, I don't even know how the conversation steered to this way, but it always seems to do that. I'm going to try my best as the moderator and I guess host of the show to stop that our conversations from getting hijacked by the Black woman ain't shit, the Black man ain't shit, whatever, because at the end of the day, we need each other. And for those who do not want to be with a Black woman or Black man, that's your right. You should do what makes you happy. But there are Black men and women who do want to be together. So those who want to be together, we should focus on building a nation, because that is what we've been called to do for so many years, as far back as Marcus Garvey. And even before then, our ancestors were talking about building a nation, right? So we got to get back to doing those things. There'll always be a battle of the sexes per se. It happens in a lot of other races. The only thing is they don't do this to each other out in the open as we do. They don't denounce each other, saying that I don't want nothing to do with the Black woman. I don't want nothing to do with the Black man. If that is true, they keep that to themselves and they move in silence. Yeah, unfortunately, us as the Black community, we continue to find ways to not get along. And we already know that's by design. So every time we sit up here and spend 45 minutes or so arguing with each other about something a Black man said or a Black woman said or blah, 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 whatever, that takes us further and further away from the task at hand. And that's nation building. So again, I'm not saying that Black men are evil. I'm not saying that Black women are evil. We all have our own individual issues. We do. But we need to figure out how to set those aside long enough to get our community. And I know Black America, you're right, take exception to the word community, because we know community is well organized and, is functioning. We don't have that. But we need to get together long enough so that we can at least try to build a community like our ancestors did. We have so much more going for us than our ancestors did that built Black Wall Street and all the other Black townships. And we have not been able to make a go of it. Yeah, I know racism is here. It's never going to go anywhere. Racism, if you believe it or not, is an issue for everybody else's community, that's not white. But they somehow say, you know what? We're not going to pay that any attention right now. We're going to use what we have and we're going to build until, as the Asians are, at the wealthiest class in America. How did they come from where they are in Asia and come here and build and become the wealthiest class in America? Because they tuned out the noise. You don't think Asian men and women have issues with each other? They do, but they say, you know what? We're going to put all that aside. We're going to buy up this damn block. We're going to buy up all the stores in the Negroes neighborhood, and we're going to do all we need to do to get all this money so we can have some real power, while the Negroes sit up on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and everywhere else and argue with each other about how they ain't nothing to each other. That's really where we should be freaked out at, that we are openly all right with doing that. And I know some people try to accuse me of being a feminist. You've never once seen me do anything that acts like a feminist. I've always said that I believe that Black men and women need each other. I've never been one to demonize Black men. And I've never been one to demonize Black women. Now, have I said things that are uncomfortable to hear about both? Yes. And I'm not excluding myself from that. I'm not perfect. But at the end of the day, what are we building with all this chatter going on online about how we ain't shit? What are we building? The people who are amassing these big giant views and stuff for doing that, they're personally all right for now, but are they actually helping the community? Anytime you tell a Black man or a Black woman to divest from their Black man or Black woman, you also tell them to divest from the Black community. It's just a fact. So anyway, I love and appreciate everybody, dear Otis, Black America, Deanna, of course, Donovan. Thank you so much, y'all, for coming on here. You said the Koreans murder too. Yeah, Kimmy. Thank y'all so much for coming on here. We'll be back with Walter, Wealth Wednesdays with Walter, and Lord knows what we're going to talk about. But it'll be interesting nevertheless. And you guys will also have an opportunity to come up here and voice your concerns. But of course, we also have ways to donate to the channel. And thank you everybody who did do that. Whether you like, subscribe, whatever. Love and appreciate you for that. And so until tomorrow, you guys be well. Get something to eat. I know I am. Peace.
Peace and hair grease to everybody else too.
See y'all next time.
Bye.